Thank you so much for your time joining us. Thanks to the audience for joining us also. Dave, maybe we can just start. Introduce yourself, introduce your company, although I don't know that it needs an introduction. But why don't you just give everyone some background?
Sure. It's great to be here. Thank you very much for having us. I'm actually slightly different from I think everyone you've spoke to today. I actually I've been in the financial markets for 25 years. I started out as a derivatives trader, but I joined Wisdom Tree Asset Management as a startup. So I actually come from the asset management side of the business as opposed to the brokerage side. And I've been working for the last decade educating institutional investors on how to use and incorporate ETFs into their business. And then I switched over to crypto because I think that industry is in the same phase of education and adoption that we're seeing today. So let me tell you a little bit about the company. And as you said, most people know it. Gemini is a full service crypto exchange and custodian that allows customers to buy, sell, and store crypto in more than 30 digital assets. We were specifically designed for institutional investors to acquire crypto assets and store them safely, securely, and efficiently. We are what I would say is more highly regulated than most of our competitors. We've achieved SOC 1 Type 2 and SOC 2 Type 2 certification from Deloitte for both our exchange and the custodian. We're the only exchange speaking today to have achieved that certification level. We run on a digitally native architecture that enables us to provide access via API and fixed connectivity for most of our services. We are not run out of the cloud. Our exchange infrastructure and matching engine is housed in the same facility as the NYSE, the Equinix NY5 data center in Secaucus, New Jersey. We're a New York trust company. We're regulated by the New York State Department of Financial Services. We're a fiduciary, and we're subject to capital reserve requirements, cybersecurity requirements, and banking compliance standards set forth by the New York State Department of Financial Services and New York banking law. We're a qualified custodian for both our exchange and our segregated custody account. Our exchange and custodian are covered by one of the most robust AML KYC programs in the industry, including an extensive market surveillance program. We're subject to the Bank Secrecy Acts and its implementation requirements. We actually provide the highest insurance coverage in the industry with $290 million in coverage across both our exchange and the segregated custody accounts. We provide private keys using FIPS level 4 rated HSMs, which we consider to be more secure than key sharding, with WebAuth support, address whitelisting, rate limiting, and IP restrictions for securing accounts. Gemini has over 350 employees, and we're available in all 50 states, Washington, D.C., and Puerto Rico. Additionally, we're available in more than 50 countries, including Australia, Canada, Hong Kong, Singapore, South Korea, and the UK. Let me tell you a little bit about our founding. The firm was officially founded in 2014 by Cameron and Tyler Winklevoss. They first became involved in Bitcoin in 2012 during the very early days of cryptocurrencies. They faced hurdles acquiring and storing their Bitcoin, as well as connecting those holdings into their wealth management infrastructure. They realized that they can build a bridge to the future of money for all institutional investors through the development of systems purpose-built to facilitate their own needs for buying and storing their coins. Today, Gemini is empowering individuals and institutions by providing a simple, elegant, and extremely secure way to trade and store crypto assets. The firm is built on a foundation focused on product, security, licensing, and compliance. And many of our decisions start with the idea of doing what we should do, not only what we can do, because protecting investors' brand and reputation is our primary goal.
Awesome. Well, that was a pretty thorough background.
A lot to know. I want to make sure we get it all in.
No, I like it. Thank you, Dave. So 350 employees. Give us a sense of your size in terms of assets.
Well, we've announced publicly recently that we have over $10 billion in assets under custody, and that's our general size that we make public. The rest of our company is very private.
Okay, great. So you'd mentioned you offer brokerage, custody services. Just maybe you can break that down. Especially this is Bitcoin for corporations, right? And you're sort of gave us all the great credentials that Gemini has. maybe you can just walk through one by one the different tiers of products and why corporations should be interested in this.
Absolutely. So we offer a wide variety of what I call prime services. We're an exchange and custodian, and we offer OTC execution and clearing services. All of our services are applicable to all of the products that we make available, from Bitcoin and Ether to a range of DeFi products. First and foremost, let's talk about the highly regulated crypto exchange, right? As I mentioned, we're the only exchange here to have achieved SOC 1 and 2 Type 2 reporting status. This means that Gemini is the most highly regulated, transparent, and tested cryptocurrency exchange in the world. We take customer safety and security very seriously in order to fulfill our mission as this bridge between traditional and digital assets, right? Assets on our exchange are kept in an omnibus account that is secured with 3 levels of storage security: a hot wallet, and then cold and cryo storage. We also offer a fully segregated custody solution. This segregated custody is entirely separate from our exchange storage systems, with independent sets of private keys, HSMs, and even different geographical locations for physical hardware security. This is designed to work seamlessly with trading on the Gemini exchange, but also completely independently as a standalone solution for investors who wish to trade elsewhere and still have Gemini be the custodian of their assets. The exchange and custodian are supported, I think, like I said, by a full suite of APIs so that functionality can actually be built directly into in-house solutions already in place at most of our clients. We also provide a series of execution venues for our customers, ranging from trading directly on the exchange, utilizing either our simplified exchange mechanism linked to our matching engine, or our active trader functionality. This is designed for traders that want to use advanced order types, charting, and additional features. There's also what I guess it's an automated block trading utility, which is unique to the industry, and it's currently actually free to use. This provides instant block liquidity from market makers in real time via an electronic interface. You simply type in a block size and you'll receive two-way markets with actionable prices. And lastly, as has been discussed by many of our competitors, we have a high-touch trading desk for working directly with institutional clients, managing their sophisticated order flow. A unique feature of this desk is its use of proprietary algorithms to determine levels for pricing orders for execution on the Gemini exchange. So this keeps client order flow within the Gemini ecosystem, removing the problem of settlement risk that's sometimes ignored on other trading desks as they go out to a variety of venues. Effectively, our clients are trading as if they are the top quantitative hedge funds in the world. The desk is run by a former head of FX trading at BNP Paribas, and the experience is structured to look exactly like that of trading with a big bank. We can offer pre and post-trade analytics, and we approach our execution business as a partnership between our clients and the firm. There are no regulations dictating best execution in the crypto space, but we take that concept as a cornerstone in our OTC trading business. We are not executing against clients at any time, but working with market makers and our own math-based algorithms to find the best bids and offers throughout the global market in order to achieve the best execution possible.
Okay, well, thanks, Dave. I appreciate that. Tell me about your customer base. Do you have any customers that reference? I'm sure security and privacy is important, but do you have any reference customers you want to share with the group here?
We do, actually. Our customers span all segments and global regions. Like I said, we're currently safekeeping over $10 billion in cryptocurrencies. We have banking relationships with JP Morgan and partnerships with State Street and other institutions. We provide execution and custody services for robo-advisors, traditional wealth management firms, including trust structures, pensions, endowments. Since the firm was designed to be able to execute and store crypto for a large family office originally, everything is built from the ground up to service our institutional clients. Generally, institutions come to Gemini to talk about storage and are actually pleased to discover that we actually offer this full suite of services of execution and clearing, but in a very discreet and professionally run structure. So one of the most unique features of our platform is our sub-accounting functionality. It enables wealth managers like Eaglebrook Advisors, for example, to segregate trading strategies or end customers under a single master account structure. This is most used by wealth management platforms that are managing money for multiple clients under the same umbrella. Through this functionality, we can assign differing levels of access and privileges across the account structure. We can trade for one or multiple accounts simultaneously, allocating executions at the same price to multiple clients with similar or different fee structures. We also provide custody and exchange services for a variety of corporate clients. That, as we'll talk about in further detail, starts with a long discussion about intended goals and an education process about the crypto industry, our firm, and alternatives in the market. What we've found is that the initial decision to pursue a crypto exposure typically comes from somewhere near the top of the organization, and it actually becomes the job of the rest of the team to figure out the mechanics of implementation. Our specialty is to help educate each role on the team as to their involvement in the process and what they will need to know for entering into the position and managing it in an ongoing basis. So I think I said at the beginning that I started at Wisdom Tree, and I've spent 12 years educating portfolio managers on the nuances of implementing ETFs into their portfolios. We run a very similar process of education before we pull the trigger on execution. I firmly believe in transparency around fees and process. We're happy to help our clients understand how liquidity providers create liquidity in Bitcoin and where they're making their money, right? All of our client relationships are a partnership designed to achieve the best result on that execution. I want to focus on two more areas before we move on. We provide services to more product issuers through our Gemini Fund Services Group than anyone else speaking today. Fund issuers like 3IQ in Canada, Galaxy CI, Osprey Crypto Trust, they're all clients of our bespoke fund services business. Our experience in ETFs enables the team to excel in providing not only custody and execution, but all capital markets needs like seeding and liquidity provision. And we're actually in discussions with most of the fund industry about wrapping cryptocurrencies into traditional wrappers. I think this is a piece of the business where we really stand out. And then lastly, we also work very well with the family office industry. That group traditionally keeps their business close to the vest. But because of our provenance of Gemini and the Winklevoss family office, we have a real understanding of their needs. And so we spend a lot of time educating and providing services to this, what we call traditionally discrete group of investors.
All right. Well, you came quite prepared, David, but I don't know if I heard you answer my specific question. Do you have any corporate customers? You know, a lot of the audience here are major corporations that are considering investing in Bitcoin. Do you have any that you can share or talk about?
We do, but we don't have any that were willing to share their exposures today or share their experience today.
Okay, got it. So let's say you're a corporation, you have $50 million after listening to the 2 days of our Bitcoin for Corporations track, super interested in getting into a Bitcoin position as soon as possible. How fast can you onboard them? What's that experience exactly feel like?
So the customer journey is a huge focus for Gemini, right? And I think they understood this from the beginning, that if you're building a business from scratch, getting customers in the door, trading was incredibly important, right? And turning people on, right? So the firm has built this process of onboarding for an institution. It's actually very similar to the process as if you were onboarding an individual, right? There are some minor differences in documentation requirements. It's all standard incorporation documents that every firm would have readily available, right? We have a concierge service for institutional clients. We walk them through the steps of the process with a dedicated person for questions to ensure things are flowing smoothly. Generally, our turnaround time, which is what you specifically asked, is 48 hours start to finish. However, like a few people have mentioned today, actually, we can turn you on much quicker if there's something that needs to really get done quickly, and assuming that all the paperwork is in order. More importantly than onboarding, though, to me, is this concept of gaining an understanding of the client's goals with the relationship, right? We do this through a series of meetings designed to best understand what they're trying to do, how they like to communicate, and the variety of ways that we can help them achieve these goals, right? This does a lot to avoid the typical challenges that might present themselves to our customers, right? So differences between exchange custody and our segregated custody product, sometimes people need to think about that a little bit. or the way that we protect their accounts by whitelisting. This prevents them from accidentally sending funds somewhere unintentionally. We have an extremely advanced set of controls and procedures, right? This prevents clients from sending funds and making mistakes in a world where, like crypto, where there are no do-overs. So we walk clients through this entire process to ensure they understand what they can do and cannot do. And then lastly, I would say it's important to remember, Gemini is only 350 people. We treat every customer as if they were our only customer. You're not getting lost in a big organization. You're not dialing the phone and getting into an endless automated maze. If you want to speak to us, we answer the phone, we answer questions. We're here to help with adoption of this new ecosystem. And we actually understand the value of your money to you, I think.
Great. So let's get big picture. And where do you see the Bitcoin marketplace going? 1 year, 2 years, 3 years? You have a price forecast for us at the end of this year? Probably not, but you know, I'll ask anyway.
I'm gonna leave pricing to crypto Twitter. Okay, you can get plenty of price estimates.
No one's taken us up on that yet. So I didn't expect you would be the first, but just tell me where you think you see the market going in the next 3 years.
I may be a little more conservative than my colleagues. Look, I think one of the most interesting aspects of the marketplace today is around this development of traditional looking financial service products for investors, right? I spend most of my days speaking to institutions about our services. One question we get all the time is, how do we integrate with our competitors? Actually, because firms want to set up multi-custodian models like they're used to in the traditional markets. I think this is one of the biggest features you're going to see in the future, right? Because this concept of spreading around risk is incredibly important, not just from hackers, right? But even from traditional market disruptions that we can't predict until they occur. Imagine, for example, that if you're the largest Bitcoin trust in the market today and you kept all your assets with one custodian and executed only through their team. Well, there's risk on the custody piece. There's no competition for the trading piece. So clients end up bearing all these additional risks that they shouldn't be subjected to. I think the market's not necessarily big enough for this evolution yet, but over the next few years, as assets continue to grow, we're definitely going to see these setups start to take form. Additionally, we're seeing rapid advances in the trading architecture so that liquidity sourcing will become dramatically easier and much cheaper. I think it's clear to everyone here that time is accelerated in today's markets, right? What used to take years in the past sometimes happens in hours or minutes based on news dissemination, social networking, crypto, Twitter, right? Over the next few years, massive investment is going to come into the crypto space. And it will be great for industry leaders like Gemini, right? But I think that crypto space moves in dog years. A traditional year is 7 years in crypto, right? The development speeds are incredibly fast. And as we move from one product innovation to another, it's just staggering that what people have to absorb to keep up. This is sometimes
just on that, you worked in the ETF space, you mentioned, and you really saw that take off over a 10-year period. How would you compare the adoption of Bitcoin versus the adoption of ETFs in terms of, you mentioned dog years, is it 7 to 1? Like, how much faster do you see this happening? I assume you see it happening faster.
Look, I do see it happening faster, and there's massive adoption, but part of it is that, there's a regulatory, delay or wait, right? And this is actually really difficult. It's a great question. It's a difficult point for Gemini because of our regulatory disposition, right? We sometimes find ourselves waiting for regulators to catch up, right? And you asked about my history. The Bitcoin ETF is actually a great example of this, right? The Winklevoss twins were the first to file for a Bitcoin ETF in 2013, right? They were absolutely right about the demand for the product and the need by some investors, many of them on the phone today or on the call today, to hold their Bitcoin exposure in a trust structure. But they didn't want to launch an inferior structure for investors, which might have premium or discount issues in the future. So they waited for the ETF, believing, sort of like I do, that it's a structure that would provide exposure for investors, but also sufficient protections for them. And what they did in the meantime is build Gemini into an exchange and custodian that serves all crypto investor sizes, right? Simple order flow to the most complex, complicated execution and storage situations. The future is going to be this full series of new products that we almost can't imagine today, but it's also going to be made up of all the products we know in the traditional markets, but running on sets of digital rails that are more efficient and lead to lower end costs for investors, right?
Yeah, you seem like you would be the perfect person to hit that sort of intersection of Bitcoin and an ETF. You think we'll get one?
It's a great question. It's hard to see what the future brings.
Okay.
I wouldn't want to step in front of any regulatory clarity,
Okay. What advice? So we're here. We got thousands of people listening and watching, and will watch, that represent corporations that are interested in Bitcoin. What advice would you give them?
First and foremost, you need a good partner that you can trust, right? And I think that's a universal statement from everyone today. The first decisions start with your view of Bitcoin as a new and future element of your balance sheet. No one can make that decision except for the leader of the institution that you're at, right? And firms like Gemini can help with implementation and storage only after the mindset has been adopted that you want to move forward on this path. We are specialists at educating teams on helping them prepare the implementation plan and getting ready for execution. As Michael explained yesterday, right, there are a wide variety of strategies being implemented depending on the type of firm and business. Firms are bringing Bitcoin onto their balance sheet, like MicroStrategy. Asset managers are bringing Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies into products that they make available for their clients, right? So BlackRock has taken its first steps with Bitcoin futures in certain funds. The largest custodians like State Street and Mellon are working on ways to partner with crypto custodians so that they can be a part of the services they offer to their clients. Wealth managers are building access points for their clients so they don't have to leave the platform ecosystem. So every day we see increases in the ways that institutions are utilizing crypto. So I think this highlights one very important point for everyone here today, right? If you're an institution, either a corporation with a US dollar-based balance sheet, you're an asset manager, you're a steward of retirement assets, you're an insurer, custodian, even a traditional exchange or investment bank, and you don't have a strategy for cryptocurrencies, you're dramatically falling behind some of your peers, almost to a point of negligence at this stage. If your board is not asking questions about how cryptocurrencies and blockchain will disrupt the business, then you should be educating them on the variety of ways that it probably will.
Well, I love that. And consider myself biased, but I agree. If you're part of a corporation, a treasurer, a CFO, board member, executive, and you're not considering at least crypto as part of your balance sheet or P&L, then you are behind the time. So I think that's great, dude. All right, we're running low on time. I went out to the chat room to solicit a question, and I know this is going to sort of come out of left field. You don't have to answer it, Dave. I read Bitcoin Billionaires. I thought it was another brilliant book by Ben Mesrick. It was very entertaining. I assume you've read it too. Did you have a favorite part of that book?
Look, I think the overall portrayal of the twins, I think it's a great redemption story, right? I think they got sort of not a great persona in the social network. And you look, understanding the founders of our company, this is not, lightning does not strike twice. There is absolutely something special here, right? In the original incarnation of the early stories, and then now what they've done with Bitcoin. These are definitely, Bitcoin Billionaires, the twins, the Winklevoss twins are definitely someone that we should all be watching and paying close attention to.
All right, who's going to play you in the movie? Are you going to be in the movie?
I'm hoping to rent many theaters in Manhattan when that movie comes out so that we can bring all our best clients in and get together.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, Dave. I really appreciate your time. And thanks for doing this with a group. And we will, I'm sure we'll get a chance to talk at some point in the future.
Awesome. Thanks very much, Mom.
Take care.